Hello, 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 and hello. Welcome back to the Petroglyphsinthesky Ultimate UFO Show. I'm your host, Jeff Woolwine. How's everybody doing tonight? You know, it's been a while since I've been doing this, since we had the show. I think it's been, close to about a month, maybe over a month. I don't know. It's been a while. But I've been uploading a lot of past history videos on my YouTube channel. And make sure you go down and subscribe to this channel. Help the channel out. You know, let's get the information out. You know, there's a lot of I'll be posting a lot of videos that the public hasn't seen that I think maybe the public might be ready for. I don't know. I have filmed so many UFOs. There's so much stuff. Like not everybody has seen all of my stuff yet. I've only presented the stuff that, you know, is like one of my top favorites and stuff that, you know, the public can be able to handle. So I've been doing this. I've been filming these things since 2004. So I have a lot of stuff, a lot of videos. So yeah, so like, comment, and share, subscribe on this YouTube channel. The links are down below. You also can find my website down there also. That talks about the Phoenix Lights and the history of Phoenix, Arizona. So yeah, you know, and help the show out, and I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're pretty much rusty going live. I haven't been live in a while, but we have a great show tonight. I got some really cool UFO videos I'd like to show you tonight. We're going to talk about some petroglyphs and things like that. And a new friend of mine on Facebook sent me this UFO light video. We're going to talk about that. And he got some pretty compelling evidence. I mean, the light is pretty cool. It's pretty spectacular. We're going to talk about that. We're going to introduce you to him tonight. And so yeah, let's talk about my book, The Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky: True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix. Now, this isn't your everyday UFO book, all right? So this actually goes into the history of Phoenix, Arizona, and it actually describes on what these Phoenix Lights really is. Okay. Yeah, we just, you know, everything's live, so I want to make sure everything's working properly. Okay, yeah, so this book isn't an everyday UFO book. It actually explains on the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona that hasn't been told in the last 80 years. All right, now why? Because, I feel the C word coming up. Not that word, the big cover up, okay? The big cover up is there's a major cover up going on in the city of Phoenix, and investigating UFOs, investigating the history, investigating the petroglyphs around the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona. You know, I stumbled across a lot of information that hasn't been talked about, that hasn't been told. You know, I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and I've been seeing these lights, these Phoenix Lights, and these UFO orbs in the sky ever since I was a kid. All right, so I can remember being in the 5th grade, and I saw this red light in the sky. And the next day, I go and I'm talking to my friends at school, and lo and behold, you know, it's like a little Native American boy. He was one of my best friends, and I was like, dude, did you see that light last night? And he's like, oh yeah, my grandfather says these lights live on those mountains over there. And he points on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona towards the White Tank Mountains, right? And he says, my grandfather says the lights live in the mountain, right? So I'm in 5th grade. I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. You blow it off. But then later, growing up, right? Because I've been seeing them everywhere I go, man. It doesn't matter where I go. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Oklahoma. I've lived here in Phoenix. I've lived pretty much, you know, a lot of places. Doesn't matter where I go, dude. There the hell they are. These things are in the sky. They're real. There's something here, right? Because I know I've been brought up on these things, dude. You know, so finally in 2004, you know, because I was up there in New York. I was living in New York in 2001. All right, and I was there when the towers fell. Okay, so I remember being in New York City about 8 months prior to 9/11, And I remember seeing the Twin Towers, and I'm looking up at these buildings, dude. I'm like, holy cow, dude. How this is just crazy, right? It's like, dude, they're just so high, right? And so I ended up, the New York City was just a temporary stop. I was on my way to upstate New York. And then, ever since then, I was seeing UFOs in Phoenix. I moved to New York in 2001. And then the towers fell. And I remember, walking my kid to school. I was a single dad at the time. And I'm walking my son to school. And we're seeing the smoke, from about 150 miles away. We could see the smoke from the towers. And, at that time, it was restricted airspace, right? The whole country shut down, right? As far as the air travel control. There was no airplanes in the sky, right? Well, like 3 days later, my son is out there playing, right? And he's outside playing, and he runs to the window. He's like, Dad, a UFO, because, I've always told my son, look, dude, your dad's watching some things in the sky, dude. It's getting kind of crazy lately, So if you ever see anything in the sky, make sure you come and tell me, right? So he comes running to the window, Dad, a UFO. So I go looking out, and lo and behold, dude, this thing is in the sky, man. And the only thing I can describe on how it was and what it looked like was, those kids jumping jacks. The jumping jacks, the kids bounce the ball and then pick up the jacks. Well, that's basically what this thing looked like. It was a cross, a silver cross in the sky, all right, connected to 4 silver orbs, right? And they're going counterclockwise, right? And it's only about, 500-600 feet above us, above the apartment complex, and it's going over our heads, not fast, very silent, doesn't cast a shadow. These things don't cast any shadows, right? No shadows. And we're watching this thing, and my son's friend goes, oh, that's probably just an airplane or something. And I'm like, wait a minute, that is no airplane, right? At the time, I'm like, 23, 24 years old. And I'm like, dude, your dad has been around a long time, right? And I've never seen anything like that, in the skies before. And as it went over our heads, it started to go to the left of us, right over this park. And I saw a silver orb, right, with a white tail, okay? And this thing was going to join with this jacks, dude, until some trees got in my way, right? Well, that was just crazy. And I kept telling these kids, because I used to walk them back and forth to school, and every day I was like, dude, don't forget, you guys, what you saw in the sky. I mean, that thing was real. It was there. I mean, I don't know what the hell it was, but you'll never see it again. So don't ever forget, what you saw, because that's just ground proof that there is something here. And you guys witnessed it. You guys saw something that a lot of people wish they would have seen, right? Because this is real. So I drew it out. I always make sure, draw these out, draw it out. This is what you saw, right? Well, I ended up going back to Phoenix in 2004. And it's like the beginning of the summer of 2004, right? And by then, I'm studying on UFOs, ever since that encounter, I've been studying everything I could on UFOs, right? And, it was bringing me to mountains. Mountains seem to be the source of everything, all right? It seemed to be the key. Everything that I was coming across that was credible seemed to be mountains, dude. Mountains was the key on seeing UFOs. Certain type of mountains, not all of them, but only certain type of ones. And we'll probably get into that here in the show. And so, I'm studying up on UFOs. I'm ready for it. I'm back in Phoenix. I'm hunting down the lights now, dude. I'm ready. I am fucking ready, dude. I am ready to see something because I know I've been seeing them, and prior, I'm seeing other news reports from Phoenix, Arizona, about the Phoenix lights, blah, blah, this stuff, right? So I'm like, I'm up there in New York, dude. I'm like, dude, what am I doing in New York? I need to go back to Phoenix where the hot spot is. I need to go back to my homeland, to find out what the hell's going on, right? So that's what I do. In 2004, I moved back. And so I'm getting set up. I'm buying cameras, right? And lo and behold, I see a news report right? Channel 3 in Phoenix, Arizona was doing a news report on some lights that they captured that night, the night before, of some string of lights, right? And I'm like, dude, now is the time to go out there and hunt these things. Now they're back. These lights are back, dude. Now is the time. So I remember before I left to New York, I remember seeing a gentleman. His name was Tom King. Now, he was filming lights on the east side of Phoenix, Arizona, over there in Mesa, right? And a matter of fact, he's one of the ones, the legitimate ones, that has actually filmed and actually knows what exactly happened March 13th, 1997. You don't hear about this guy anymore, do you? Do you? It's all about, hearsay and things like this. It's all, well, you don't hear about Tom King, do you? But I am here to tell you, Tom King was a major skywatcher and influence on me, being another skywatcher, because I was seeing him on the news, dude. He's catching lights, dude. He's seeing the exact same thing. He's filming these lights, right? So I remember seeing, so he was over there on the east side of Phoenix, Arizona, in Mesa. That's the east side, right? But these lights happened on the west side. The exact same spot where the Phoenix lights, 1997 Phoenix lights took place at, on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. There's no evidence. I don't care what everybody says. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. I've been researching the Phoenix lights, right? And I have not once found any credible evidence that anything went over the city of Phoenix. So, well, I don't know if we're going to get into that. But anyway, what is credible are lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, that not only Tom King filmed, but like 3 other people filmed also on the west side, right? So my point is, so Tom King's out there filming the lights. So if anything, and he was ready, he's a sky watcher, he's a UFO hunter. And so my point is, if anything was going to fly over Phoenix, Arizona, he would have filmed it for sure. Because he's out there waiting. Why was he waiting? Because he was filming lights 3-4 days before. All right? So he happened to be set up on the west side this time because he saw lights over there before March 13th, 1997. Right? So he was ready, dude. And boom. Oh my God, he got lucky, dude. Look at that. Look what happened that night. So my point is, if he filmed lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, and other people, like 4 other people that we can verify, filmed lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. If a handful of people can film lights on the west side, far west side, granted, then why couldn't a handful of people film something going over the city of Phoenix, right? Reportedly going 8 miles an hour, a mile wide V-shaped craft, right? 8 miles an hour. Nobody can film it? Oh my God. Nobody can film that shit? Come on. So anyway, 2004, right? Helicopter spots lights. News helicopter spots lights west side of the valley. I know from previous encounters with Tom King that he's filming lights on the east side of Phoenix, Arizona, Mesa, Arizona. So that's where I'm going. So I moved to, the east side of Phoenix. I went to Mesa, Arizona. I knew precisely the direction to look. I knew to look south, like now I'm like southwest. I want to look southwest, right? So I know where to look, right? I got my camera in hand. I'm ready. And it didn't take long, dude. Like a few nights, I'm out there on the second floor of my apartment. I got my camera in hand. Boom, dude. These red, orange, amber lights appear about a few miles away right in front of me, dude. You can't miss these damn things, right? So I'm filming them. My first UFO video, dude. I'm seeing them. Now it's time to film them. My first UFO video in 2004. I can't remember the month, but it was the beginning of the summer. And where are these lights going? They're going towards a mountain. They're going west. They're going towards a mountain called South Mountain, right? I'm giving you my whole history here. So they're going towards the mountain, all right? So, and then they disappear. And then like 2 more would appear in front of me. And they were going towards that mountain, and then they disappeared. Well, dude, that was great. Oh my God, it was just spectacular. So the next night, I went out there. I didn't see anything. 3 nights later, I decided I want to get a little bit closer, dude. I find a school. Okay, let's go a little bit further. I found a college, all right, that had a set of bleachers. Mesa Community College, Phoenix, Arizona, in Arizona. outside of Phoenix, Mesa, Arizona. And I climbed the bleachers. It's an outside bleachers where all the students play soccer and gymnastics and do their running laps and football and stuff like that, right? And so this bleacher's high up in the sky. It's about close to maybe 100 feet up in the sky. I don't know. It's high. I don't know if it's that high, but it's high. So I was able to climb up there. And there, lo and behold, I could see the whole city. There's no trees in the way. There's no buildings, nothing. I could see everything, right? That's where I hung out the whole summer of 2004 on these set of bleachers, Mesa Community College, looking southwest. And it didn't take long. These lights, boom, was right there in front of me. Oh my God, these things were doing lightning bolt formations. These things are doing pyramid formations. These things were a light here, a light here, a light here. Man, it was crazy, dude. I ended up filming, oh my God, I don't know how many videos of Phoenix lights I got, but I probably hold the record, dude. I saw so much UFO activity out there in the same spot. Did I see them back where I normally saw them? No, dude, just right there in front of me, man. It was like they were showing me where to go. I followed these things right there. And where was it? It was like right there next to South Mountain on the east side, about 2 miles away from South Mountain, maybe give or take a mile away, give or take maybe a mile and a half. I don't know, but it was right there next to South Mountain where these lights were hanging out at, right? Lo and behold, later on in my investigations, I found out that the reason why they're in this area right there is because there's a power plant there on Ray Road in Mesa, Arizona. Those of you who live in Phoenix, Arizona, go out to Ray Road. Look on Google Earth, right, on Ray Road. Okay, about a mile away from the east side of South Mountain, you'll see a power plant. This power plant is bored down into these fault lines. Okay, it's bored down into this fault line. It's generating the energy so we can turn on our lights here in Phoenix, Arizona. All right, that's just one power plant. We have the nuclear Palo Verde power plant, out there, and at that time the news told us, right? The news says that we're gonna shut down this nuclear power plant, okay, to do maintenance. We're gonna shut down part of it, and then we're gonna turn on these electrical power plants for the summer of 2004. Well, you know what? I've seen photographs. Of lights over the Palo Verde nuclear power plant, dude. I've seen lights. I've seen photographs of lights. Legitimate photographs. So I know these lights are right over this energy spot, right? And it just so happens. So I'm out here in 2004. I'm filming these lights over this electrical power plant that's bored down into South Mountain's fault line. All right. And then later, as the months go by, a major power grid shuts down in Phoenix. It shuts down so bad, it shut down hospitals, it shut down business owners, it shut down some houses. It was major, dude. It was a major grid that got shut down. They had to pull in a whole new grid from California on a 22-wheeler that took almost a month to reach Phoenix so they could fix it, dude. And, later on, I'm starting to think, dude, what if the government knew, that these lights were here, the Phoenix lights was here, all right, and they're going to hit that nuclear power plant, right, because they're absorbing energy. That's the whole idea. That's the whole point here of why the Phoenix lights are here in this valley of the sun. It's because of the energy, dude. It's the fault lines, man. It's the energy that these fault lines produce, okay? It acts like a fusion. It attracts these things. Okay, we'll get into that here in a little bit. So later, my point is, I think the government knew that these Phoenix lights were back, and they're going to go over there and hang out at the nuclear power plant. Well, if they drew so much, energy, right, they're going to blow up that core, right? They're going to shut down the core. They're going to cause, a meltdown, dude, and that wouldn't be good, right? So I think what they did is they're going to tell everybody, we're shutting down for maintenance, we're going to turn on these electrical power plants, and shut down this nuclear one because the lights were going to go over there, and they did. And the lights went over to these electrical power plants, the electrical power plant, and what happened? Boom, shut down the grid. They were absorbing so much energy off that grid. Shut that shit down, dude. Shut it down, right? Who's paying for that? We are. We're paying for the Phoenix lights to feed off this energy that we're actually paying for to turn on our lights, dude. So we're paying for it anyway. It was cool too, cause these videos, oh my god, these videos that I saw that I filmed, that I saw these lights, it was like way cool. So these lights would appear, right, and they'd move, right, ever so slowly, and this is how they're getting away with being in our skies. All right, at least here in Phoenix, they don't want to cause attention. They want to be secretive about this. So they're softly coming in, all right, coming through that vortex door, coming in and moving ever so slowly. Because if they're zipping around the sky, someone's going to notice that shit, right? So they're going real slow, man. And when you speed up my videotape, when you speed up the film, you can see them. Boom. And they stop, man. They stop right over that power plant. And they set over that power plant for like 5-6 minutes. And then they disappear. Couple minutes later, 15, 20 minutes later, here comes some more. 1, 2, 3 lights, boom, move to that power plant, disappear. So it was great, dude. So in 2004, I'm filming all these lights, dude. And about the second month of this, man, I'm calling the news. I'm like, dude, is anybody seeing these lights out here? Because I got gobs full of video. You're just not going to believe this. I have so much video on these lights, It took them a while, but eventually the news got a hold of me, and I did 3 or 4 news reports that summer, and the conspiracy, the cover up here when it comes to the Phoenix lights. Oh, everybody's seeing flares. We're witnessing flares 150 miles away at Davis Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson. Oh my God. These lights are here in town, man. They're not 150 miles away. These things are huge. They're right there by the mountain. They're here in Phoenix, man. They're not over there in Tucson. They're right here in the valley, dude. Don't insult our intelligence, man. Any fool can know that these things are right here, dude. All right. So, all this is going on, right? And I believe everything happens for a reason. Okay? Everything happens for a reason. So in 2004, I'm watching the TV channel. I'm watching Channel 8. And lo and behold, I see this Native American, right? This Native American shaman who works at the downtown Pueblo Indian Art Museum in Phoenix, Arizona, right? So he works at a Indian museum, okay? His name is Dave Morris. So I see him on television on Channel 8, and what is he doing? He's up there on South Mountain, okay? He's up there on South Mountain, and he's doing a petroglyph tour, and he's explaining about the petroglyphs. There's elderly people up there, right? And he's talking about these petroglyphs, And one of the guys says, this stick figure man, right? This stick figure carving looks like it's looking up at something above him. Oh my God, dude. Dave Morris turns around, right? The Native American, the shaman. He says, that's correct. He goes, that's part of our interpretations, is that our ancestors saw and recorded things in the sky and they carved it on the rocks to remember it by. They recorded it on the rocks. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. And this is 2004, right? And the Phoenix Lights happened in 1997. So it's been all these years. My point is, it's been from 97 to 2004, all right? 2005, okay, when I did it. That no one has actually looked at the petroglyphs carved on every mountain around Phoenix, Arizona, and no one has made that conclusion that we have strange lights in the skies, and now we have strange markings on the mountains around Phoenix, Arizona, right? How can somebody overlook this? If you're a real UFO investigator, then you should have realized this a long time ago, dude. But everything fell into my lap. I'm watching Dave Morris on TV. He's talking about the petroglyphs, and I'm putting the two and two together, And I'm like, man, this is not a coincidence here. There has got to be some kind of significance to the Phoenix Lights, dude. Come on. So, I don't know. In 2004, I kept that in the back of my mind. I knew where to contact them, but right now, 2004, I'm concentrating on these lights out here, dude, because I'm just at awe. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm seeing these lights, man. They're appearing in the sky, dude. This is some crazy shit, dude. I'm telling you, right? You know, so I do about 4 or 5 news reports. End result, flares. I'm like, dude, come on. Okay, I've been studying these things. Okay, I'm a Phoenix native. All right, I've been seeing them since I was a kid. I started studying these things. Okay, and all the evidence is telling me to go to the mountains. I followed the lights to the mountains, right? The mountains, the lights told me where to go. The lights said, hey, dude, follow me. The lights follow me, dude. This is where we're at, right? I did. There they were. Holy shit. I got millions of videos of these things, right? And now they're saying we're seeing flares, and now I'm saying, dude, wait a minute. My history, my teachings, my credible, you know, understanding of these things, you know, all this information is pointing towards this mountain. The damn lights pointed. They went to the mountain, dude. So what the hell? I'm moving. I am going to that mountain, and I'm going to find out what exactly is going on, man. And I did. So in the beginning of 2005, I moved on the east side of Tucson. I'm back now in Phoenix. And Tucson. I'm back in Phoenix, and I'm on the east side of South Mountain. All right, and I'm about a mile away. I'm up on a second-story window. I'm up on a second-story apartment. Okay, and my kitchen window is a perfect view of South Mountain on the east side. Oh my God! Didn't take long until I saw this black object. This is daylight. This is daylight now. I mean, in 2004, I'm filming night shots. Now I'm on to day shots. Okay. So before that, let's get a little bit deeper into this. Okay. So let me tell you something else that's a little bit significant here. So in 2004, I'm filming the lights, okay? But I also notice somebody else is watching the lights also, okay? They know that these lights are here. They know these lights are in town, all right? There are white little Cessna airplanes hanging above that power plant, right? They're circling that power plant. And when these lights appeared above that power plant, here come these airplanes, dude. Meow, zooming in. And at first I thought maybe, they're going to go check it out. They're going to investigate it. You know, they're like, wow, you know, they're waiting. They're waiting for the lights like I am, okay? But no, that was the complete opposite, dude. In watching what these airplanes were doing when these lights was over the power plant, it dawned on me that these airplanes are chasing away these lights. They're chasing the lights away. That's exactly what was going on. These airplanes would zoom in on these lights, and then all of a sudden the lights, when the airplanes got within, I don't know, half a mile away from them, the lights would start disappearing. Airplanes would come in and they would circle. They'd circle that area right there above that power plant, okay? We're talking maybe, you know, a couple 100 feet off the power plant. You know, I mean, it's not right over the power plant, but it's, you know, 100 feet above the power plant. It's pretty high up, you know, but they're circling right there where those lights were, right? Airplanes would leave, okay? Airplanes would circle. Lights would come in. Here goes those lights. Airplanes, boom, coming back after those suckers, right? Man, it was a cat and mouse game that whole summer of 2004 between these little white airplanes and these Phoenix lights, you know? And when I started making the news, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car back then, so I'm riding my bicycle. My kid, you know, my kid's got a bicycle. My friend's got a bicycle. I got this pretty cool looking trike bicycle. It's badass trike, right? It's got a basket in it, dude. I put my camera, my tripod, you know. So we rode our bikes, you know, pretty far to Mesa Community College to set up, you know, and film the lights, you know. And so when I'm making the news, it also attracted these airplanes because now right during sunset, right when we were leaving to go out there to film the lights, I noticed the airplanes are circling around my apartment, dude. And they followed us. These airplanes followed us all the way to Mesa Community College. They sat there and they watched us climb the bleachers, set up the tripod, set up the cameras. There was even nights when those airplanes would fly right in front of us, man. And the pilot, you could see the pilot. He was so close to us, and he was looking right at me, dude, flying right next to me, because I'm high. I'm up there on the bleachers, and the airplane's right there, right, Let me tell you some crazy stories. So while we're up there, I'm up there a lot. I'm up there almost every night, okay? That's all I'm doing is up there. So, and there were some nights when there was like a football game going on at the stadium, right? And everybody is watching the football game, and everybody's watching, what's going on. And but me, I'm faced the other direction. I've got my video camera over here. I'm not seeing what's going on. I could give a shit about the football game, dude. I'm watching some lights over here, man. I'm catching some crazy UFO activity going on out there, right? And we attracted the cops, dude. The cops ambushed us one day. We're out there. It's about 10 o'clock at night. And these cops came up the bleachers, and they surrounded us, dude. There's like 5 of them, right? They surrounded us, and they're like, dude, what are you doing up here? You're up here almost every night, You got this camera. What are you doing, And thank God I had, I took photographs of my camera phone, right? And I'm showing them these lights, and I'm like, do you see? Look, I'm filming these lights out here, and I'm showing them photographs. I'm showing the cops photographs, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. They're like, okay, you were just checking, make sure everything's cool. I'm like, yeah. The cops are walking down the bleachers and like, dude, did you see those lights? They're all talking about me, right? So, and then, ever since then, the cops knew what I was doing. They'd wave to us. We'd wave back. It was totally cool. We weren't doing anything but watching these lights, man. It was great. So now, and the airplanes, dude, I'm back to the airplanes. So the airplanes are watching me too. All right. So when I moved in 2005 to Phoenix, Arizona, on the east side of South Mountain, not only am I picking up airplanes, but now I'm dealing with black helicopters. And I filmed them. Yep, I filmed them. I filmed these black helicopters, man. And it was kind of cool, too, because, over the years, I sat there for like 3 years on the east side of South Mountain. And I watched all kinds of crazy activity going on over that mountain, dude. It was just insane, dude. All the UFO activity that was going on there. It was all documented on my camera. I filmed everything. And, these helicopters, they knew, man. It's like they knew something was going to happen over there, and they'd fly over there, and they'd hover, and they'd circle, and then the helicopters would take off, and a UFO would leave in that same area, dude. It was crazy. I filmed this one flying serpent, this flying snake. I'm gonna go off topic here for a minute. I filmed this flying snake. It came out of the canyon of South Mountain, and it climbed in the sky. It was going west, and it was about 1,000 feet, and then it started coming my direction, And I took that to the news, and the news, we did a newscast of it. And like the day after, maybe the next day or two after the news report, we did a news report on that. A black helicopter, I filmed this, I got this on video. A black helicopter came over to that exact same spot because nobody else saw where this serpent came out of. Nobody else saw where this flying serpent came out of but me. I was the only one because I'm watching, right? Because I've got my camera set up. I got my chair set up. I'm looking out the window. I'm looking at the mountain all the time. If something's going to get past me, it's because I'm sleeping or in the bathroom. All right. So I'm there. I'm watching. And in the morning, my kid's getting ready for school. I'm sitting there. I'm watching the mountain. And all of a sudden, this snake, this black and red serpent, flies out of the canyon of South Mountain. I'm the only one that saw that. By the time I jumped on my camera and started filming it, it had already been about a few hundred feet off the mountain. I started filming it as it left the mountain. It came over, went over my head, sat there a little bit, then went on across the valley and went into another mountain. My point is, this helicopter dude, he went to that spot. How the hell did he know where to go to? He knew exactly where to go to. He went to that spot, and then he flew around the mountain, and then sometimes he would point in my direction. He would sit there and hover right above the mountain, looking at me, dude. And then he'd take off, and he'd go back to that spot, dude. It was crazy. He went to that spot like 3 or 4 times before he ended up leaving. So I'm watching these things. I'm watching these things come and go. And then, I go out there on South Mountain expecting to see some kind of crop circle. Because I'm still thinking technology, right? I'm still thinking crafts. I'm still thinking, this hearsay spaceship, nuts and bolts spaceship, technology shit, whatever, Phoenix, Arizona. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for spaceships. I'm looking for crafts, right? So when I see this object, this black orb come down out of the sky and seem to either land or go in the mountain, I'm going out there to investigate it. I'm looking for a crop circle. I'm looking for some kind of evidence because I saw it go down there on the mountain. I videotaped that shit. I knew it. I knew that damn thing is on South Mountain. I'm going out there and checking it out. I get out there. What do I find? I find a boulder with a carving of a stick figure man looking up at the exact same thing that I filmed the day before. Then I started thinking about Dave Morris. So I called Dave up. I didn't tell him exactly, what I was doing, I just said, hey, dude, I saw you last year talking about petroglyphs. I said, I'm doing a documentary on petroglyphs. And you take me up there and teach me the petroglyphs, brother. Oh, yeah, sure. It was great. We met up there on South Mountain, spent about 3 hours up on the mountain. And I tell you what, he's telling me some crazy stuff, all right? And at the time, I'm soaking it all in, dude. But at the time, I'm wondering, dude, wow, man, this is just heavy. This is some heavy stuff that he's teaching me. He's talking about doorways. He's talking about spirals, okay? Let's talk about these spirals. When you see a spiral carving on some of these mountains out here, all right, they're doorways for the spirits, okay? It's a symbol for doorway. Now, when this spiral ends at a crack, all right, the spiral ends down. Well, we're going to do a down spiral this time. Talk about this. At a crack, that crack is the doorway. That's what Dave's telling me. That's what a Native American shaman who works at a Native American museum in Phoenix, Arizona, all right, is telling me what these spirals mean. And he's telling me the spirals are doorways, okay? And the crack is the entrance points to the underworld. For the spirits. Is he saying spaceships? Is he saying crafts? Is he saying technology? E.T.? No. What is he saying? He's saying spirits, dude. Spirits, man. Spirits, yo. It's the spirits that are coming and going from the underworld, right? And so when the spiral ends clockwise, it's a doorway in, okay? When the spiral goes counterclockwise, it's a doorway out. And I found many spirals, many boulders up there on South Mountain where we have 2 doorways, 2 emergence points. One's a doorway in, one's a doorway out, right? So when the spiral ends up, there's a vortex in the sky. This is what Dave is telling me, dude. The Native American shaman from a Native American Indian museum in downtown Phoenix. He's telling me, dude. It's a vortex in the sky. Phoenix lights? Oh my God, dude. That's when these lights are just appearing in the sky, man. They're coming through a vortex door. That's it, right? Oh my God, he's talking about giants. He's talking about giants that were here in Phoenix, Arizona. And oh my God, dude. Oh my God, did I find evidence of giants? I sure the hell did. Mm-hmm. There is carvings out there on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona that are depicting giants. It's crazy, but it's there. I took photographs of this massive wall, all right? And I believe it was constructed by giants, okay? Because they're huge boulders, right? And I've even found boulders, all right, that are teeter-tottering on each other. They're teeter-tottering on each other with like a little bit of like clay or something. Maybe prehistoric concrete. Hell, I don't know. But it's weird, dude. But these boulders, they're perfectly square and they're on a corner and they're teeter-tottering and they've been sitting there for thousands of years. How the hell did they do that, right? They're massive ton stolen boulders, okay? And then I'm finding tombs out there, okay? I'm finding tombs. There's buried tombs, and the giants are picking up these huge, massive boulders and throwing them. Somebody big, somebody huge, somebody big and powerful to pick up these boulders and throw them in the doorways to conceal these tombs. But I found them. I found burial tombs out there, right? Matter of fact, let's talk about these giants here for a minute. So we have a mountain out here on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona called the Superstition Mountains. So a lot of people are like, oh, dude, the Lost Dutchman's gold mine. Let's go check it out, right? Let's go find it. Well, according to the Native Americans, that mountain goes much, 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 much more deeper, more significant, more spiritually, more sacred than some German Dutch guy in there finding gold, man. The real history of that mountain, according to the Native Americans, according to what the petroglyphs depict, says that when the Great Flood was here, because we have bloodthirsty giants, we already know that, we know that. And now the flood's coming, right, to wipe them out. You see? The flood is coming. The Native Americans are talking about this. The flood is coming, okay? And the lead giant tells his people, run over here to this boulder. Run up on the boulder. I'm gonna raise that boulder up so you guys don't drown. So all these giants, they go up on this huge boulder, right? And so the lead giant uses his power. This is what the Native Americans say. This is what Dave said. Dave Morris, Pueblo Indian Art Museum, he's teaching me this. He's saying this. I'm not saying this. He's saying this. What did he say? He says, go up on that mountain. Go up on that hill. Go up on that boulder. I'm going to raise that boulder up. And so he did. And the water kept coming. And the lead giant was using his powers, raised that boulder up. But the water kept coming. He raised that boulder so high that now it's as high as a mountain. But the water is still coming. And so at his last bit of strength, because he didn't want his people to drown, he immortalized his people in stone. He turned all his people into stone, along with himself. And when he did that, when that happened, that's when the flood stopped. That's when the water stopped. And to this day, you can look upon the Superstition Mountains and you can see the water line where the flood of the massive flood, Noah's flood, stopped. And then to this day, you can look and you can see all the giants still up there, turned to stone. All these mountains, all these peaks up there are these giants. That's what the Indians say. All these things are up there and they're giants turned to stone. And the main giant, he's down there on the east side of the mountain, and he's praying. He's on his knees and he's praying because he knew. There's another giant on Camelback Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. It's great. He's up on the side of the hill, up on the side of the mountain, and he's turned to stone, dude. There's a skull rock there, a big skull rock. That's really cool too. When you investigate me, I'm sure you'll find it somewhere on the internet. I believe it's in my book too, where there's a skull rock on Camelback Mountain. Yeah, I talk about it in my book. So anyway, so I'm learning all this crazy stuff from Dave Morris. He's talking about the lizard people, right, coming up out of the sand world, all right, and they're teaching these people how to live, how to survive. They're coming up out of the sand world, they're coming down from the heavens, all right, and they're teaching these people how to lie, how to live. Now let's talk about these petroglyphs of the lizard people. So when we look at these carvings of the lizard people, now Dave was telling me, this is what Dave was explaining to me. He's like, because we have a stick figure man, okay, envision a stick figure man, but this man has a tail, okay, he's got a tail coming down from him, right, and in his belly he's got this circle, okay, he's got this circle belly. And Dave's telling me, well, that's him. That's the lizard man. He's coming out of a doorway. He's coming out of the rock. He's halfway in our world, halfway in the spirit, and halfway in the spirit world, halfway into the underworld there. But the more and more, that's what he taught me. The more and more I started watching these orbs in the sky, and the more and more I started seeing how these orbs were morphing into snakes, were morphing into crooked snakes, were morphing into stick figure men. Oh my God, yeah, I have that on videotape. I have a light over South Mountain. I videotaped this white light over South Mountain, and out came that white light was a big black looking snake. This snake came out of this light. I got this on film, dude. And this snake then morphed into a stick figure man that it looked like he had his hand on his waist and antenna out of his head. My wife Pam sat there with binoculars and watching it. She's like, "Oh my God, it's a snake! It's a snake!" It was great, dude. It's a carving of a petroglyph, dude. You know. So, I mean, over the years, I'm watching these things. I'm learning what they do, and now, you know, I'm slowly coming to the conclusion. Look, these things are not spaceships at all. These things are alive. These things are living creatures, dude. There's no technology in this. You see a light out there? That's not a little gray guy in a spaceship, dude. That is not what is going on here. Each light, you see 5 lights out there in the sky, you're looking at 5 living entities, 5 living creatures who know you are watching them because they're watching you back. This is what my 20 years of research following these damn things all over Phoenix, Arizona, watching them, studying them, understanding the petroglyphs, dude. No one has ever done this before. People just don't have the time. They take the word of hearsay information and they don't go out there and verify it. That's one of the main problems here in ufology is they take people trying to sell books and movies and this and that, you know, and they don't have a clue. They haven't explored the mountain. Like I said before, oh my God, in 1997 Phoenix Lights happened. Nobody looked at the petroglyphs for any answers until I came around in 2004 and 5. And started poking my nose around the mountains and poking my nose, you know, probably where it shouldn't belong. But oh my God, it's teaching me. It's teaching me. It's giving me answers to the questions that I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on in our skies. Not only in Phoenix, but your skies too. It's the same shit, man. It's the same stuff. Not just Phoenix, dude. All over the world. So when we look at that belly, dude, on the stick figure man, okay, and he's got that circle, that is the orb. That is the orb. The Indians are trying to tell us with that carving that is the orb. We all know what orbs are. We've seen them. We've been filming these things for ever since World War II. We got these light orbs, right? And all of a sudden now we're seeing white orbs and black orbs, you know. So we got these orbs, dude. And outcome from that orb is growing a man. Because what did the Indians say about these things? They're calling them shape-shifters, right? They're shape-shifting into animals. They're shape-shifting into men, right? They're shape-shifting into snakes, right? Quetzalcoatl? Oh my God, dude. I'm here to tell you Quetzalcoatl is alive and well, and he's flying around Phoenix, Arizona to this day. I have videotaped this flying serpent many, 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 many times over the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona. Quetzalcoatl is real. Quetzalcoatl is alive. The feathered serpent is real. I filmed them. It's not just a myth. That's what they're talking about, dude. It's talking about, to us, UFOs, but to the natives, to the ancient ones, oh my God, it's their gods, dude. You know, it's flying snakes. It's the feathered serpent, man. I've seen it. I videotaped it. So you see that orb on the stick figure guy, morphing, changing into a man. That's what he's doing, and he's growing a tail. But that tail is dangerous, right? Watching, you know, understanding the petroglyphs out there. I'm seeing like these flying serpents. I'm seeing like flying swastikas out there. I mean, Hitler got the swastika. Everybody knows this. Hitler got the swastika from the Native Americans, dude. Not only Native Americans, but India uses them. I mean, it's like a good luck symbol, things like that. But on the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona, there's depictions of coyotes and depictions of men looking up at flying swastikas. So the swastika came from the sky. That symbol was originated from the sky. This is a UFO creature. This is a UFO entity. A swastika originally came from a UFO entity in the sky. Now, I've seen carvings of the swastika, flying serpents, phoenix lights, orbs, things like that with this line, the tail, the lizard tail, supposedly, coming down and picking people up by their heads, taking them off into the sky. That's what these petroglyphs, you know, if you go to my website right now, down below, there's a link on this YouTube channel. You go right to my website. Right there on my front page, you can see that petroglyph of this orb, and it's picking this guy up from a tail, from like this tail, from this line, right? So Dave Morris, back to Dave Morris. So he's teaching me all this stuff, right? So we get back down off the mountain, and I go, have you ever heard of the Phoenix Lights? You know, he's like, oh yeah. He's like, there was somebody on the news, you know, talking about that a few months ago. I go, yeah, that was me. He's like, that was you, dude? I go, yeah. You know, I said, I have this theory, right? I have this theory that these petroglyphs on the mountains out here have something to do with the Phoenix Lights and all these other UFOs that we're seeing in the skies today. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Ooh. When I said that to him, he shut up. It's a good thing I didn't tell him what I was doing before, or he wouldn't have told me all this information. Because once we were done, dude, he didn't want to talk to me no more. It was like a taboo subject. Because he's out there teaching me what these means, but someone is actually filming it? They witnessed it? Uh-oh. Is that prophecy? Is that a type of prophecy? He didn't want to talk to me no more. To this day, I try to get him back up on the mountain. Nope. Avoids my phone calls. Doesn't talk to me. Oh, God, dude. Right? It's taboo. This, you know, in actuality, right? We are not meant to know about these things. And I'm going to tell you why in my story. We're not supposed to know about these things. These things are like, we're not supposed to know about them. Okay. I won't say why here in a minute, but you'll find out later here in a minute. This is all in my book, dude. All this stuff, you know, while I'm talking about the history. And so he won't talk to me no more. And so I'm still going up on the mountain, you know, and I wrote an article for UFO magazine in 2005. I was the first one to talk about the petroglyphs connected to the Phoenix Lights, you know, with this UFO magazine. And excuse me. And UFO Hunters on the History Channel, and also Ancient Aliens TV series, was just a thought. It wasn't an actual show back then. All right? And I can't remember the guy's name now. But oh my God, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But you know, so I'm doing a lot of news reports in Phoenix now. So in 2004, I'm doing lights. I'm doing news reports about lights. Now in 2005, I'm doing UFO news reports about day stuff, and I'm connecting the stuff to the rock art out there. This is why I call my information, my little thing here, petroglyphs in the sky, is because that's what we're seeing in the sky. We're seeing petroglyphs in the sky. And so I'm making the news. I'm presenting my evidence. This is fact. This is not hearsay. All these videos before they hit the news reports was analyzed before the news reports aired. Because there's a lot of hoaxes out there who do Photoshop and trying to get famous and trying to get their names in the paper, stuff like that, you know. But my videos were analyzed before they aired, so they knew it was real. Crazy stuff, dude. It was crazy stuff. And no one has ever in the history of ufology has matched these Phoenix Lights, these flying creatures, these flying serpents, to the petroglyphs that are carved in the area on where the sightings are taking place at. No one's ever done that before. So this is big news. This is a whole new idea on the Phoenix Lights, because no one's ever thought of that before. So everybody wants to talk to me. It was great. I met a lot of people, I still do. That's why I'm still doing what I'm doing now. That's why we're me and you are talking. Because of all the research, the 15 years of research I did on South Mountain. 15 years, man. At least that's where the book comes in. And I'm still going out there. I'm still doing stuff, right? Always learning, because you can never know. You're not going to know everything, but so you try. And I'm telling you what I learned, all right? And that's the whole idea. I don't make any money from this. Matter of fact, the book, all the book stuff, I don't make any money from my book. I told the publishers to give my money to the foster kids in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't make any money from this. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's not about who's going to be on TV and who's going to be on the news and who's going to be that. No, dude, it's about bringing facts to you. It's about bringing this information to you. I want you to look into everything I've said here and will say, continuing, because there's a lot more to say. And look into it, see what I'm doing here. See what I did. I want you to do it also, all right? Call my bluff. That's what I want you to do. Call my bluff. See if I'm wrong or not. I've crossed my T's, I dotted my I's, and I went down this road thinking spaceships, flying saucers, and little gray men from Mars. And the evidence is taking me somewhere else. All the facts, all the evidence is taking me this way. Spaceships, craft going over the city of Phoenix, hearsay, bullshit. Evidence, these things are creatures, these are alive, and the Native Americans knew about it, and this is a part of Phoenix, Arizona history. Credible. This is credible. I can't go with hearsay. Hearsay needs to take a holiday and get the hell out of Dodge, dude. We're so tired of hearsay. We need to examine the facts. We can't look at hearsay by somebody trying to convince you that a spaceship went over Phoenix, Arizona to sell her books, to sell her movie tickets every year at Harkins Theater, okay, just to get you in there, in the door, and talk about nothing because she has no evidence, she has no proof, no facts. That needs to take a holiday because that is not real. That is someone trying to play on your ignorance. Sorry. It is. Because she hasn't done her homework. She's never been on the mountain. I've been bugging her. Dude, let's go up on the mountain. Let's talk about the petroglyph. No. Here's a free copy of my book. No. Yeah. You just want to stay on your soapbox and you're afraid of me taking away that soapbox. That's all right. We're done. But that shit needs to go away. The facts, okay? The evidence needs to come forward. Here's what I'm doing with all my research, petroglyphs in the sky. I'm bringing all this evidence. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, and that's the thing of it here. It's not what I'm saying. Oh my God, Jeff Woolwine says they're alive. Dude, I didn't start this. This was started over 1,000 years ago, maybe 2,000 years ago. I'm just bringing up, I'm just bringing back this information that's been covered up. It's been buried. Going to talk about that here in a minute. Okay. Damn, I still can't remember his name. Anyway, so the guy who came up with the idea of the UFO Hunter Show, I cannot remember his name. Forgive me. But anyway, in 2005, he was coming to Phoenix, and he had this pilot idea for the UFO Hunter Show. He got a hold of me and he's like, dude, let's go up on the mountain, man. Let's talk about these glyphs. I was like, right on. Let's do it, brother. And so we went up there and I did the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show along with some other Skywatchers here in Phoenix. And it sat on Hollywood's desk up until about 2007. And that's when they came back. That's when the UFO Hunter Show actually started airing in 2007 on the History Channel. And that's when they actually came back to actually do a follow-up, to do a show. And I ended up doing the show on the History Channel on the UFO Hunter Show in 2007. And I took them up there on the White Take Mountains because the White Take Mountains is like more pretty. It's like a better landscape than South Mountain. And same kind of petroglyphs, same story. Right, a little bit more better petroglyphs there. So I took them out there to the White Take Mountains, right? And they're like, dude, they're like, Jeff, But like, you're filming some bizarre stuff. Yes? Okay, this just in. This just in. I can read it. I can't read it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you, wife. Lovely old wife of mine. Pat Uskert is his name. Thank you, baby. Pat Uskert from the UFO magazine. He was the one that got the UFO Hunter show going. And so in 2007, they're like, Jeff, you're filming some bizarre stuff, dude. He goes, the public isn't ready for this. He goes, if you're going to talk about these things, you got to say crafts. Got to say spaceship, right? Because the public isn't ready for your stuff, dude. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, the public better get ready for this, man, because flying snakes are flying around here, man. There's flying stuff flying around, and it's not spaceships, it's not crafts like you want me to mislead the public about, right? I discovered this shit. I was the first one to do this. I'm the first one to bring this to the public. You know, just because you think it's controversial doesn't make it true, dude. Look at the evidence, man. Look what's going on here. This flying snake, you witnessed it. Is that a spaceship? No, man, he's alive. He's looking at me. He's looking at the mountain. He's alive. Anyway, that's what happened. And that's when Ancient Aliens started coming out, dude. And I had a lot of influence on Ancient Aliens TV show. I didn't like the way things were going. So I just kind of politely bowed out of all that stuff because I wasn't going to mislead the public with the Ancient Aliens and with, the little green men from Mars when there's no evidence of that. There's no proof of that. You know, all the evidence was taking me down a road in which the public doesn't want to hear about. And unfortunately, we're talking about some of these scrolls that have been with us at least for 3,000, to 4,000 years. Especially, the Babylonian scrolls when it talks about the Anunnaki, stuff like that. They just don't want to. They don't want to talk about shit like that. I want to talk about spaceships and little green men and stuff like that, and not creatures, right? And not spirits, right? And not angels, right? Don't go saying angels. Don't go saying fallen angels. Oh, you're trying to throw religion at me now, Jeff. Don't be doing that. Oh my God, dude, who said anything about religion, dude? When you look at the Bible, let's get this shit out in the open. When you look at the Bible, and you take religion out of the Bible, just kick that shit to the side, dude. And you read the Bible as type of a history book of Earth. You will come to find out it tells you exactly what these things in the sky are that we see in the skies today. Absolutely. And the kicker is, did we talk about giants? Yes. Did we talk about these things coming down? Yes. Did we talk about these things coming up out of the sand world? Yes. Oh, what are all? Are we talking about Genesis 6? The Nephilim? Yeah, dude, that's it. This is where I'm going with all this. This is where the evidence lies. Here we have scrolls. We have 3 to 5,000 year old scrolls, right? And it talks about these creatures, these beings, okay? And then we go out there on the rocks in the United States and we see the carvings from the first Native Americans that are talking about the exact same stuff. So we can read it in the scrolls, and then we can see the prehistoric photographs carved on the mountains. That's it. That's credible. That is credible to me. You can't get any more credible than that. And then you see it for yourself, right? You see what they're talking about in these scrolls for your own eyes. I mean, that's just the icing. That's the cherry on top, dude. So back to South Mountain, I'm finding tombs. I'm finding altars, right? I'm finding sacrificing altars, right? And this is a year of research so far, almost 2 years of research, And I'm doing news reports. I'm doing cable shows now. I did a lot of Jaime Maussan in Mexico. I did a lot of his shows. I did True TV. I was the first one to bring these creatures to the public, to the UFO community here in the United States. I was the first one to do this. first one to talk about the petroglyphs connected to the Phoenix Lights, everything else. So I'm finding all this evidence, right? I'm finding tombs, I'm finding altars, I'm finding evidence of giants, I'm finding carvings of giants. I mean, oh my God, the history up there is telling me something that I haven't been taught before in history books. You know, how come the archaeologist isn't talking about this? And, you know, I think I was the first one also to get a city Phoenix archaeologist out on the news, in the news, and talk about UFOs to petroglyphs. No one else has ever done that before either. I did it. And that archaeologist, he's blowing smoke up people's ass, dude. It wasn't even funny, dude. Because why, dude? Because there's so much stuff up there that they don't want you to know about. We're going to talk about it. There's so much stuff that they do not want to talk about this. Because they want you to stay on the trails. But when you go off the trails, that's where the evidence is. And that's what I did. For 15 years, I went off the trails. And I found a lot of stuff on that mountain. Okay. So much history, so much stuff. And if you can't get to the mountain on your own, then I bring the mountain to you through my book. We're still talking about my book here, aren't we? We haven't even got to the other stuff. I'm just setting you up to what's going on here. I'm giving you my history. I'm giving you my story. That's it. I'm telling you like it is, what happened. Everything from day one, right? So now we're up here. I did a news report with the city archaeologist. I'm hot right now, dude. Right? You know, so everybody wants to talk to me. Even the city archaeologist trying to discredit my findings. He's up on the news now talking about my work. Right? Trying to keep that cover up a secret. Trying not to let that conspiracy out. Trying his hardest, trying to convince the people that I don't know what I'm talking about. But the photographs I'm bringing down from the mountain, and the petroglyphs, and the evidence, you can't hide it. You cannot hide this information anymore. So, now I've done pretty much a lot of work on the mountain. I've done a lot of sky watching. I've seen a lot of stuff. So let's go to the Phoenix Library. Let's go to the Phoenix Library and see what we can dig up. See? I've done my homework. No one else has ever done this before. I've done my homework here in Phoenix, okay? Let's go to Phoenix, Arizona's library and see what we can find on South Mountain. Ready? Here we go. Let's go check it out. So I'm at Phoenix Library, and I'm looking for, I want to find out Arizona's history, especially South Mountain, because South Mountain seems to be the place. Because I'm filming UFOs there. Right? South Mountain is hot, dude. It's sacred to the Indians. The Indians, it's telling me this is a sacred mountain. It's a holy mountain. You know? So there's got to be dirt on it. You know, there has to be dirt on it. Did I just say that? Dirt on a mountain? Did I say that? Okay. So there has to be more story than what the archaeologist wants to tell us. Because I'm finding evidence out there, dude. So let's go to the library. Let's check it out. So I went up there on the 4th floor in the Arizona room. This is where they keep all their government files and things like that. And they asked the secretary, just give me everything you have on South Mountain. Give me everything you got on South Mountain. Comes back with this huge folder, right? And I open it up, and lo and behold, who's looking me in the face? The first park ranger of South Mountain, Charles Holbert. From 1930s to the late 40s, the very first park ranger of South Mountain. He wrote a journal. He wrote a story. Okay, and Charles Holbert just isn't a park archaeologist or a park city employee here in Phoenix, but he's well known on the whole west side of the United States. You can even find information on Charles Holbert in like California and Utah and New Mexico and their government library departments. So yeah, Charles Holbert, he was only 5'5". He was a short guy, but he was a big man in the government world here in the employment of park rangers or whatever. He was a very respected man. Yeah, so he was on top of the game. He was the man to go to. Everybody loved Charles Holbrook, all right? And so did the Indians at that time. So did the Indians, and they told Charles everything about South Mountain, and he wrote it in his journal. He wrote it on these papers that I was reading that I discovered. This is 80 years ago, you know? And he's writing in his journals in this folder. And so the Indians tell Charles exactly who the Hohokam Indians are. The Hohokam Indians are the people who first lived here in Phoenix, Arizona, the first Native Americans. And this is where Phoenix comes from. It's a fiery bird out from the formal civilization, you know. But nobody tells you, but I'm telling you, what happened to this formal civilization. I'm telling you exactly right now what happened. The beginning of Phoenix, Arizona. This is the beginning. And this is from Charles Holbrook. Okay? You can find this information on my website also down below. Click that link. Also, help me out, subscribe. You know, let's get this information out. You know, share this video for me. And say, yeah, that'd be great, you know. And so the Indians tell Charles about everything. They tell him about the tombs, the gold tombs that are buried up there. They say who the Hohokam were. Okay, and here's the story. This is from Charles Holbrook. This is from the Indians that told Charles Holbrook the story. Now they say the Hohokam people, when they first arrived here, now it wasn't a dried up desert like it is now. Okay, Phoenix, Arizona is all dry and hot and desolate now. It's a wasteland now, right? It's hell. It's hell on earth, man. It's hot, right? But it wasn't like that when the Hohokam were there. And what is the name of Hohokam? What is the name Hohokam? Where did that name come from? That name Hohokam came from the Pima Indians, right? The Pima consider themselves ancestors to the Hohokam Indians. Okay? So does the tribe of the Tohono O'odham tribe. If I said that right. Tohono O'odham? Tohono O'odham? I don't know. Tohono O'odham. They think that they're ancestors to the Hohokam. Now, Hohokam means the Pimas called them people who are gone. The people who are missing, because we don't know what happened to these people. They lived here for 1,000 years in Phoenix, Arizona. They were masters of the canal systems in the world at that time. They built massive canals and water system. They ruled here for 1,000 years. All of a sudden, they disappeared with no trace of them. But what does the story say on what happened to them? Here's what Holbrook writes that he learned from the Indians at that time. He says, when the Hohokams first arrived here, it wasn't a dried up area. It was like a tropical-like landscape. We could find evidence through the waterfalls, the dried up waterfalls on the mountains around the Valley of the Sun. Okay, we can find evidence that there was lots of water here when the Hohokams were here. It wasn't dried up desert. It wasn't a desert. It was water. It was tropical. It was like Mexico. And as a matter of fact, you know, Phoenix, Arizona was a part of Mexico. When you do your history, when you look into the details of Phoenix, of Arizona, Arizona was part of Mexico, dude. Okay, so it only exists, or it only makes sense that not only the Hohokam, but the Mayans were here in this valley also. We all know about the Mayans. Okay, we all know the history of the Mayans, the pyramids, the sacrificing, the feathered serpents, you know, all that crazy shit. That was here in Phoenix. That was with the Hohokams. I find not only Hohokam art, but I find Mayan art also, right? Crosses, right? You know those crosses we see carved on the pyramid temples in Mexico? Same shit. Same stuff that's here, right? So he says when they first got here, right, they didn't know how to live. So they say that these beings, the lizard people, right, came up out of the sand world and they came down from the heavens. And they shape-shifted. They look like everybody else. They wanted to look like people. They look like everyone else. They changed their shape. They're shapeshifter entities. They're creatures. They're shapeshifters. They taught mankind the secret ways. They taught mankind knowledge that man was not meant to understand. In return, they worship these things as gods. They worship the phoenix lights as gods. They worship these orbs as gods. These flying serpents, these flying crosses, these flying diamonds as gods. And they sacrificed unto these gods. I found altars, dude. I found altars. This went on for 1,000 years, okay? Until one day, for reasons unknown, this is what Charles writes. It's all documented on my website. Go check it out. That printed paper right there on my website, you know, from Charles Holbrook. You can see what he looks like, right? That's the exact same photograph that is in the library today. I photocopied all this stuff, dude, right? So I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. I'm just bringing back this information. And so for 1,000 years, they ruled. It was great. They said that there was Indian tribes of Indians came from all nations right here to this mountain, to South Mountain. South Mountain is holy. Back then, they called this mountain Mount Sepoa, Mountain of Mercy. This was a sacred mountain. It still is today. It's a sacred mountain because these creatures of the earth and sky reside here. They live here. When they come here during the seasons, they're here for the fault line. They're here for the energy. Okay? But at that time, mankind needed them to survive. All right, so these creatures came down. I'm going to tell you a secret. They're not from another world. They're not from Mars. They're not from Alpha Centauri. They're not from Jupiter. This is their planet also, okay? They live here. These creatures, these orbs, these serpents, all this shit, these lights, they live here. This is their planet also. This is their world. We share this world. They were here before us. This is more their world than it is ours. It's a secret. Now you know. So, every Indian history says, especially look at the Hopis, okay? Look at the Hopis. The Hopis say that we're in the fourth world, right? And we're about ready to enter the fifth, okay? And every time the world changes, right? Mankind needs these spirit beings to survive. And every time this happens, it leads to man's downfall. It leads to man's demise. They come up missing. Here's what happened to the Hohokam when they dealt with the Phoenix Lights, when they interacted with the Phoenix Lights, when they interacted with these orbs. This is what Charles Holbrook says. It's what the Indians say. They said that all these tribes came around, they worship, they came here to this mountain, okay? And the story goes on to say a handful of corn for a handful of gold, right? They brought gold here, okay, for trade. Or then they would melt down that gold, make gold idols, things like that, right? And they would watch these beings in the sky, and they would interact with these creatures. Some would take these, there's petroglyphs out there depicting these creatures picking people up into the sky and watching them and playing with them and interacting. There's petroglyphs of that, you know. These flying barbells would come down, all right, and pick people up and put a little window in there. Like a lot of people, there's a petroglyph that shows that this barbell is over this man and he's looking out a window. A lot of people would say, oh my God, that's a spaceship. No, actually that barbell is a creature. He's absorbing that man and he's taking him up into the sky. And so this went on for 1,000 years. Excuse me. Everybody was happy. Everybody's watching the lights, worshiping the lights, sacrificing for the lights, until one day, for reasons unknown, the story says, the sacrificing stopped. And when it did, the story goes on to say that that's when the land started to dry up. The waterfall stopped flowing. The seasons were changing. It was just, everything was dying. Man's blood was not being poured down the rocks anymore. This is what these Phoenix Lights, these sky spirits wanted. These spirits of the earth and sky demanded. You worship. Sacrifice. Blood. They stopped it. Everything stopped. That's when stuff started to dry up. And the people were yelling at their tribal leaders saying, why did you stop the sacrifice? Look what's going on to our land. It stopped raining. There's no water on the mountains no more. The spirits are mad. They're pissed off at us. Why did you stop the sacrifice? Story goes on to say, now some of the Native Americans say that the devil, that's when the devil came from the east and came down and took these people away up into the sky. Remember, I already talked about the petroglyphs. There's a lot of petroglyphs on my website down below. Click the link. Look what I'm talking about here. There's tons of petroglyphs out there of these lights, these serpents, these swastikas, these diamonds, these lizard people picking people up into the sky, taking them off, taking them up into the sky, never to return. Right? Charles Holbrook writes this in his journal. Charles Holbrook learns this from the Indians. Verified on the rocks out there. And here's the thing. This is interesting, too. So a lot of these preachers, he's going to talk about religion again, dude. A lot of these preachers, man, they say, well, First Thessalonians is talking about a rapture. We're all going to be raptured and caught up to the Lord and be judged. And so that's the thing. It says, First Thessalonians say, we shall be caught up. We will be caught up and brought up into the heavens to meet the Lord in the sky to be judged. First Thessalonians. So they say that's a rapture. There's no rapture in the Bible anywhere. But the preachers call this a rapture. And so when we look at that verse, and then we look at the Holcomb Indians and what happened to them, they were taken up. They came up missing. They were taken up into the sky. They were taken up into the heavens. Was this a type of rapture for them? Maybe. Could have been. Could have absolutely been. Because of their evil ways. Because like I said before, we're not meant to know about these things. These things aren't supposed to teach us the secret ways of the universe, the secret ways, the secret knowledge. We're not meant to know about that. It's just like, the garden, right? The serpent tempting Eve with the apple. Now we understand what good and evil is, stuff like that. Exact same thing, man. Exact same shit. That's why Dave Morris got so upset with me when I told him, look, dude, I'm connecting these lights with this rock art out here. Why? Because his generation, his parents told the grandparents from generation upon generation upon generation, what happened to these people here? What happened to his people? And the story says that these things got pissed off and took people away up into the sky, never to return. It was scary. There was people that witnessed this Holocaust. There were people who witnessed what was going on. They ran into caves, man, and they were afraid, okay? And when it was all over with, they came out of the caves and they're like, oh my God, did you guys see what the hell just happened? He's like, we are not going to live in this valley anymore. The Native Americans, the remaining Holcombs that lived here and the Mayans that lived here, they cursed this land. They cursed Phoenix, Arizona. They said whoever's going to continue to live in this valley is eventually going to have to go to war with these spirits of the earth and sky. So they packed up the gold. And Charles Holbrook writes in his journals, he says, the gold is as high as the tallest saguaro cactus and as big as round as the sun. There's a lot of gold buried on South Mountain. And they took all this gold and all this sacrificing idols and things, and they put them in these tombs in South Mountain, and they buried all these tombs, and they vowed never to come back into this valley. This valley is cursed. So for 400 years, right? 400 years goes by. Nobody lives in Phoenix, Arizona, dude. There were tribes on the outskirts of the valley, right? On the outskirts, right? That saw the Phoenix lights, man. They saw those lights in the distance. They saw those lights around South Mountain. They saw these flying snakes. They saw these orbs. They saw these UFOs, right? We call them UFOs. And they were afraid And rightly they should be, because they were taught generation. What happened? Your grandfather's grandfather's niece, son, right, got taken away by those things that you see in the sky now. That's the story. That's the story. That's the story. So why would Charles Holbrook write all this when he's a big famous man, but why would he write all this if it wasn't true? If this is what he was told by the Native Americans, who was told from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation what these petroglyphs are talking about, what the Phoenix Lights, these lights of the sky is, what the true history of Phoenix, Arizona is, right? Why would he waste his time if he didn't think it was true? Mm-hmm. Until Jack Swelling, 400 years later, Jack Swelling came over the White Tank Mountains, a cowboy, and he looked down and he saw the canals and he saw everything the Holcombs left there. And he's like, dude, what a great farmland. Let's start a city here. Let's bring in the city. Let's start a city here in this valley. Jack Swelling was the first person to start pitching camp in this valley and start getting the Valley of the Sun, going again. From the ashes of the formal civilization, the fiery bird, the phoenix, rose from the ashes of the Holcombs and the Mayans, who got taken away, who was dealing with the giants, who was dealing with the lights in the sky, who got taken away by these lights in the sky, who has now cursed this land, who took off from this land, never to return. But Jack Swelling blew off all that superstition and says, hey, I'm going to start living here again. Right? So that's in my book. That's what the book talks about, okay? Woo, are we done? Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Landscape for the Spirits, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Volume 2 is pretty much on my website. Talks about how to see the UFOs here in Phoenix, this and that. But yeah, dude, I mean, that is all that stuff, man, is everything that I've learned, and I continue to learn, And, looking at all this, it's a scary thing. No wonder, my conclusion of all this, my thoughts on this. Oh, the government's going to come out and talk about disclosure. Yeah, I doubt that, because, if the Indians are afraid to talk about this and the government sure hell ain't going to talk about it, they're not going to tell us, dude. They're not going to tell you everything that I just told you right now. This is proof positive. They're not going to tell you all this information. The archaeologist isn't going to tell you this. He's holding this information away from you. They're actually out there blowing up petroglyphs to hide this information from you. They're trying to keep this away from you. But the evidence is there. Look at my book. Look at my website. Look at all the crazy shit that I've been doing, for the last 20 years. Look at the evidence I've found. I went down this road thinking spaceships, technology, they're here to help us. I'm coming out of this going, oh my God, dude, this is some crazy, scary shit. No wonder the government isn't going to tell us about this. Sure. Oh, you know what the biggest conspiracy now is? Because everybody understands technology, right? Everybody understands spaceships, right? Oh, it's a spaceship light. Oh, I understand that. Okay. But when you come around and you say, look, well, that's a creature. That's a living being. They can't handle that. Just like what they told me back there in the UFO Hunter show. Oh, the people, they won't be able to understand this, dude. Because all they understand is technology and spaceship, dude. But actually what's going on here, that light is a living creature. That light is a living being. 5 lights out there, it's not some spaceship. Not some cloaked spaceship. Not some craft. Each light is a living being. Only now people are starting to realize this. And it's my work. I was the first one to do this. And now it's my work. And it's finally, catching up to some of these people, some of these so-called experts in this field, just now saying, oh my God, I wonder if Jeff Woolman was right all these years. Of course I was, dude. You know, if I'm gonna say spaceships and crafts, you know, that's where the evidence is taking me. That's what I can prove. It's spaceships, but it's not. Okay, I can prove another being, another creature here. All right, that's what is credible. That's what I can prove. I can't prove on any spaceships. I can't prove on any crafts. But I'm not saying that there isn't the possibility. All right, so don't get me wrong. Okay, there is a possibility. Yeah, there's spaceships out there from another planet. Don't get me wrong. Okay, because the scientists have found 7 Earth-like, I think it's 8 now, 8 Earth-like planets on the outskirts of our solar system that may contain life. So what's to say that there's some advanced civilization there who made a spaceship who has visited Earth one point in time or another? But there's no evidence of this. There's no solid proof. There's CGI video, there's CGI photos, there's hearsay from books, okay? But nothing is credible, nothing that is significantly credible as far as the petroglyphs on the mountain, as far as these 5,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 year old scrolls that are talking about the same things we're seeing in the skies, and our own eyes, what we see for our own damn selves. That flying snake, is that a creature? Is that a spaceship? No, man, it's not technology. That son of a bitch is alive, dude. He's alive. That's a creature. It's an animal. He's a supernatural animal. I'm sorry, but dude, they don't want to look at that. These so-called UFO experts, you know, these ancient alien TV shows and all these other cable shows out there. And that's a conspiracy now. That's the cover-up now, in my opinion. They're going to tell you spaceships because the history of the creatures is not a good one, because the creatures last time took everyone away. And you know what? What happened to the Holcomb is the same story on other tribes around the world where they were masters of their land for 1,000 years, and all of a sudden they just up and disappeared with no trace. The Holcombs wasn't the only tribe that disappeared. There was many tribes around the world that disappeared all at the same time. So this story just isn't here in Phoenix. It's all over the damn world, all over these tribes, man. You can't ignore the evidence. And it starts off with one person saying this and verifying all this. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting this information to you. Let's look at the possibilities here. Everything I've been telling you, let's look at the evidence. Let's look at the possibilities. What if it's something different? Okay, everything that I've said, all right, kind of makes sense, dude. Then little creatures abducting people and taking them up into the sky, and you know, and people selling books and movie tickets and stuff like that, you know. No, man, there's something else here. There's something totally different. Okay. A lot of people don't want to hear that, you know, and they just can't handle that. You know, they're not up to par. They're not up to this yet. You know, it's been what, I don't know, 60, 70 years, maybe more, of people saying flying saucers and crafts, you know, because they see that light, or they see this object. They see that cigar UFO, and they automatically assume it's a craft, because that's what they understand. They understand technology. That's all they ever knew. But if they looked, you know, if they read some of these scrolls, if they look and see what the Anunnaki says, if they look at what the Native Americans say, you know, and take it literally, not just a myth, not just some Indian on peyote, you know, saying bullshit. But what if it's true? You know, what if the evidence, the answers have been with us this whole time? You know, these scientists, you know, they're looking for extraterrestrials on the outskirts of our planet. I think they need to start looking on the inside of our planet. You know, I don't think what we're dealing with here is extraterrestrial, but interterrestrial. They live here. That's why we see them. It's their world too. All right. Woo. All right, let's take a breather, and then we'll get into some of these petroglyphs, and we'll talk about some UFO sightings. Oh my God, I know I've gone over my time limit here, but I'm still going. Holy shit. Wow, someone has messaged me on Facebook and I haven't talked to in years. So that's great. I'll get to you here in a minute, my brother. Okay, so let's get on. Let's take a short break and then we'll get into it.
A lot of people believe these are more spiritual or interdimensional beings rather than a spaceship, rather than a UFO, a flying saucer. Now, I believe there could possibly be both of these. There could be these interdimensional energies or spiritual energies. It's really interesting. A guy that I actually had on this channel who's appeared on UFO Hunters, on History Channel, had his own show for a little while, Jeff Woolwine. He actually hosts the Petroglyphsinthesky Show on Facebook and YouTube, and you can go check him out. He's 20 years in the game, been investigating UFOs and petroglyphs out in Arizona and South Mountain for years upon years, and he has a ridiculous amount of great evidence accumulated from that. And now a lot of what they see in Arizona tend to be these orbs. I'm not saying this video for sure is depicting exactly what he's seeing out there, but I did find a lot of similarities, and I thought that was really interesting because a lot of people believe these are more spiritual or interdimensional beings rather than a spaceship, rather than a UFO, a flying saucer. Now, I believe there could possibly be both of these. There could be these interdimensional energies or spiritual energies.
Give me that money.
Don't call it a comeback.
Right?
And that was for, did you have 300? Okay.
Yeah, that's the other deal. I just won.
300. All right, Mike, you have control.
Give me dates for 200. I should have started with dates.
The Phoenix Lights were seen in what year? 1989 or 1997?
97. Shout out to Jeff Woolwine.
1997. He is.
Way to go, Michael. You rock, brother. Yeah, check out Mike's show, man. He does a great job on that. And so yeah, shout out to Mike, man. Thank you so much for promoting the show and promoting the book. And you rock, brother. Okay, so let's get on with this. So my new friend, let's get on with this video. My new friend named Dakota Gray Moon. Shout out to him. He sent me this video of this light, right? And it's so great. I love the way he did his research, okay? I love the way he did his research when he was presenting his UFO video. Let's take a look at it here. So he found the light. I'll have to go back and look exactly when he filmed it. I forget right now. There he is. What's up, brother? And here's a zoom. Here's a zoomed in one. I think the one on the right is the regular video, and the one on the left is the zoomed in video. But I really enjoyed the way he presented his UFO sighting on his Facebook page. He's like, dude, it's not blinking like an airplane or a drone, right? Because a lot of these, fake UFO sightings, a lot of these people want you to believe that, a blinking light repetitiously, if a light is blinking repetitiously, it's an airplane, right? It's not a UFO spaceship. It's not craft. Okay. These creatures do sometimes blink and they sparkle, right? But not in a pattern, right? Not in a pattern. And that's the way he was, he did his research, did his homework. And and that was great. He's telling the audience, he's telling his Facebook people, look, this is not an airplane. It's not blinking. It's not a drone, right? And the thing is moving. The thing's moving in the sky. And also another great thing that he did, he showed the object leaving the sky. Always do that. Always present your UFO findings, your UFO videos on how they leave the sky. Because there's so many people out there that are filming planets and stars, okay, and they just cut off the video, or they edit the video, they cut parts out, because they don't want you to know that it's an airplane or something like that. So they edit the video, they cut it out, they never show on how the object leaves. Okay, so that's one way that you want to, verify your UFO for proper analyzation. Okay, because there's so many hoaxers out there. There's so many wannabe people out there that, are trying to sell books, and, now people are making money, off fake UFOs and things like that. So I just want to give a great shout out to Dakota, man. You did a great job, dude. And if you see any more, please let me know. And if you guys have a UFO sighting that you want me to air, hit me up on Facebook, man. Let's talk about it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Check out my website. Let's talk about UFOs. I'll be actually doing a thing out there in Vulture City in Arizona. I'll be talking about UFOs. I'll be conducting a UFO hunt in Vulture City in Arizona in the beginning of October with Jay and Marie Yates. So they're doing a ghost investigation out there. And also I'm doing a sky watching event. So come out and pick up your tickets now. You can find it on my Facebook page there, somewhere on my wall there. I was going to promote it, but I completely forgot, but I'm telling you now. So yeah, go out there and check out Jay and Marie's page and the Vulture City Mines, and pick up your tickets today. So it's going to be a great event. I was there 1 year, a year and a half ago, and then we were supposed to go back in 2020. COVID happened, everything shut down. But now COVID seems to be going away, everything's coming back. We're gonna be out there talking about ghosts and talking about UFOs, Vulture City Mines. Okay, yeah. So this is great. This is great on what Dakota filmed, and thanks, brother. Thanks so much for letting me know. And filming this, and keep your eyes to the skies, brother. And if you can, try to get a video camera. Whoops, we just went off the air. Don't you just love? Don't you love live video? Okay, let's try to get this back. Sit there and watch his UFO video for a minute while I get things back in order. Yep, don't you love live video? Sit there and check out his UFO. I get things back in order as we come back on air. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Let's get things back together. Okay. All right, man. Great job, dude. Thanks again, man. Keep me posted. Let me know if you see anything, and let me know if anybody else sees something so we can talk about UFOs. Great video, dude. Great video. And make sure, if you can, use a video camera. because cell phones, you just can't zoom in properly, and things like that. So you just get better zoom qualifications. Some of these new cell phones nowadays are pretty good, can zoom in on that stuff. But I always say, a video camera with a viewfinder, not with a window that comes out of the camera, but a viewfinder, so you can, focus in on the object. And so it actually, keeps the light out of your eye. It keeps the glare from the screen of the camera, off the sun on the screen, so you can see the UFO. So that's why I always say use a viewfinder to film these things in the sky. Great job, brother. Thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about some more. Let's see, what's this? Whoops. Ooh, did I just get dizzy or what? Okay, there's the book. All right, let's look at this video. This video is pretty cool here. I'm not sure where this was filmed at, but here we have some lights in the sky. Somebody sent me this video quite a while ago. Like I said, I haven't been doing my show lately. I've been working on my YouTube channel, and so please subscribe to my YouTube channel for all these UFOs in Phoenix and more UFOs in the future. Now look at that. Look how they all disappeared all at the same time. You see that? That is just fascinating. This is a real UFO sighting. They're not blinking. Okay, their information. Look at that. They're not falling to the ground like flares would. They're not drifting apart. And then they all disappear at the same time. Look at that one. There they go. Perfect example. That is great video. I love that video. It's right over a shopping mall. Look at that. Is that great? That's just great video. That's just great. Here's an older one. Now this is the Concorde. We all remember the Concorde, right? This is pretty fascinating. Watch what this video does. Watch what happens. Man, I wish they still had that jet in service now. Just because the thing crashed. Okay, here it is. Look at that. See that orb? Look at that crazy thing. What the hell was that? Let's look at this on a replay, slow motion. You see that orb? It's checking out a supersonic aircraft. Is that crazy or what? That's just spectacular. This is old. This is old footage too. So that's just crazy. That's really cool. It's unfortunate, they discontinued this aircraft because I loved the Concorde. I really loved how the nose would bend down as it took off and, to do that supersonic flight. But, yeah, this just, look at that. Isn't that great? Look at that. That's just crazy. That's insane. That is really cool. Now here's the Phoenix Lights. Here's the original 1997 Phoenix Lights. Let's examine this video. Okay. This isn't the one Tom King filmed. This was another guy. Okay. Tom King is much closer than that. Tom King is like right under these Phoenix Lights. Okay. There is no craft like a lot of people are saying. It's not moving over the city. Okay. This mountain on the left there, that's South Mountain. This is the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. That's the west side of South Mountain. Now let's look at what's going on here. Okay. Are they moving? No. What are they doing there? They're coming in, they're popping up, and that's not over a city of Phoenix. Okay, those are just houses that's over there in that area between the Australia Mountains, the Indian reservation known as Australia, which is Star Mountain, and South Mountain. This is the west side. Okay, and so yeah, are they moving? No, man, they're coming in, they're absorbing that energy. They're absorbing the energy from the fault line from the mountain. Look at that. This is exactly what had happened that night. Are they moving over the city? No. Is there some kind of spaceship, invisible spaceship craft? No. Is it a V-shape craft? No. Look at the evidence here. Let's look at hearsay, a craft going over the city of Phoenix, but not one videotape of this. But someone who did, videotape what actually happened that night, This is what's going on. This is it. This is the Phoenix Lights, 1997. See that? It's not an R. It's not a V-shaped craft. Like a lot of people who are out to exploit the light for their ill-gotten gain. Selling books about nothing. Selling movie tickets about nothing. Okay, for the past, I don't know, 20 years or so. I don't know, man. It's been 20 years and not one credible evidence of a spaceship going over Phoenix. Come on now, people. Let's look at the evidence here. We have to kick hearsay out the door, and we have to kick the people who are doing the hearsay out the door. And we have to look at what's credible. Okay? We have to examine what's credible here. And what's credible is what we actually see for ourselves on what was videotaped that night. Are these lights going over the city of Phoenix? No. Is this a spaceship? No. Are these living creatures in formation absorbing the fault line energies from the mountain? Yes. That is what's going on here. Are they following the seasons? Are they following the sun? Are they tracking the seasons? Yes. This is why, especially here on this side of the planet, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August, they're following the equinox and the solstice, right? This is a secret here. This is what I found out watching these things for so many years, okay? So right before the equinox, right, we're seeing a lot of UFOs here, right? Let's just say we're seeing a lot of UFOs. And then after the equinox, we don't see them anymore. They're gone. Where did they go? Because the sun is moving positions in the sky through the seasons, right? The sun is going somewhere else now. It's over these other power energy sources around the globe. So when the sun gets in the right position of these energy sources, such as fault lines and volcanoes, things like that, when the sun is in the right position, it opens up these doorways and it causes a fusion effect and it attracts these beams to this energy source. Okay, so I've discovered this in 2005 and 6, I think 6, right? Because that first year of 2005, I'm videotaping these UFOs coming and going from the mountain, and I'm tracking them with the sun, just like what the Hohokam Indians did. The seasons, the equinox, the solstice, and the changing of the seasons, right? Because the Indians were sky watchers too, okay? And they were, sun worshipers, but they felt the sun was a tyrant god. But, they tracked him through the sky. They tracked him through the seasons. The archaeologist wants us to believe, well, this is time to plant corn. No, it has nothing to do with planting corn, okay? And the sun going up between the two blocks of the, oh my God, I can't think of it now. I can't think of it now, but there's so many reference points around the earth where the equinox and the solstice with the sun aligning itself between boulders, between rocks, over petroglyphs. It's that morning sunrise on the equinox. Stonehenge, that's what I meant to say. They think, every equinox morning and solstice, the sun rises between that Stonehenge there. It's not time to plant corn. It's not telling us the seasons are changing, dude. It has everything to do with these beings in the sky. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with the time to plant crops, dude. No, like the archaeologist wants us to believe. It has everything to do with when these beings will be here and when they won't be here. Okay, so before the equinox, we see a lot of them. After the equinox, they moved. They came from Phoenix. Now they're over there in Florida, or now they're over there in Iran. Now they're over there in Jerusalem. Now they're over there in Paris. And now, after the equinox or after the solstice, now they come back because the sun has moved position in the sky over these fault lines, over these energy spots. And so there's reports, 1997, Oh, these lights were seen at the top of Arizona. Then they went through Tucson. Then they went down into Phoenix. Then they turned around and they did a U-turn. They went back the direction. That is bullshit, dude. What they're doing, they're jumping from one energy spot to the next energy spot to the next energy spot. They didn't fly over anywhere, dude. There's no evidence of this. Okay, the evidence is suggesting that they were at one mountain, they absorbing the energy there, and then they disappeared. They went into their vortex door, their spiral doorway. Then they showed up in Phoenix, dude, and they're doing their spread here. They're absorbing the energy here. Then they moved on. They moved on to the next energy spot. That makes more sense, and that's more credible evidence, more credible sense than some V-shaped craft, which nobody can prove. That they're only the people who are saying this are trying to get on television or trying to get on newspapers or trying to say, selling books and movie tickets, dude. If you're going to make a fantastic claim like that, you must provide the evidence. And I'm just sorry. I just don't see it. So this is what we can prove. 4 people out of thousands of witnesses, right? 4 people videotaped what actually happened that night. And this is it. And it's gotten so big and out of hand. It's gotten so out of hand. You know what? Phoenix, Arizona now they've made this hearsay bullshit information, which can't be proven. The city of Phoenix has made a museum of the Phoenix lights now. Over bullshit hearsay. Can you believe that? That's how far this crap has gotten. And it was just simple lights going on over there. That's all that happened that night. It's like the grade school, where little Tommy, he falls off the swing set and he scrapes his knee and he goes to the nurse's office. Well, by the time it rotates around school, little Tommy, he's in the hospital. They're taking away his leg. Oh my God, he's gonna die. You know how the stories just escalate and get thicker and thicker and thicker as it goes. That's exactly what's going on here with the 1997 Phoenix lights. All it's happened to do was a bunch of lights on the west side, and that's what I'm filming over here in 2004. The lights are still going on there today. Just people aren't looking for that. They're more involved in a spaceship. They're looking for spacecrafts because of misinformation and people trying to sell the public, making fools of the public by selling books and movie tickets and bullshit. They're misleading the public for their ill-gotten gain, man. That's exactly what's going on here. I know. I was out there that night. I didn't see shit. I was outside that night, supposedly when this craft went over Phoenix, and I'm here to tell you I'm a witness that was there that didn't see shit. Right? Oh my God, hearsay bullshit, dude. That's just the worst, man. Make sure you like, share, and comment. Thank you all for the comments. I'll get to the comments as soon as the show is over with. And, it's great having you guys with us. Oh, let's see. Okay, so live television, people. You want to make sure everything's working properly. Okay, so like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And so let's talk about some petroglyphs before we get out of here real quick. Here we go. Look at these orbs here. I'm not sure where this petroglyph is located at. But here we have 2 orbs. And here we have that line that I'm talking about. Okay, and that line is actually connecting with another orb. And I think what these lines are doing when they connect together with each other like that, I think they're absorbing each other's energy. And here we have another entity to the left. Do you see that? Now he's morphing. Oh, look here on the bottom of that. You see that little guy? Can you see the guy there? You see the guy looking up? You see that little man right there? Now he looks like he's got a tail on him. You see that? When you zoom in on this more, you got 3 legs going on there, dude. So This guy looks like he's got a tail. And, talking, explaining what these tails are, what those tails are all about, these lines. So yeah, that's a pretty cool petroglyph. Not sure where that's located at. This one is cool too. So when you look at the whole landscape, when you look at the petroglyphs, okay, when you look at the petroglyphs, you have to look at the whole landscape, okay, because the Native American is putting the landscape in with his art. He's telling you, he's including the landscape in with the art, because this just isn't some random drawing in some random place. Okay, this is a written testimony. This is a drawing test. This is a prehistoric photograph of what happened in this area. And this is the reason why you want to look at the petroglyphs with the whole landscape involved. Now let's look at this. Let's examine this. Let's examine this petroglyph first. Let's look at this. Okay, so let's look at the glyph. Okay, look at the boulder that the petroglyph is carved on. Okay, so the boulder is showing excuse me, these orbs, these UFO orbs and the lines. Okay, oh, it looks like there's 2 orbs there, 3 orbs. So we got 3 orbs that are connected together. See that? And they're going up. Okay, now look at that crack right there. You see that crack, that dark crack right there on the bottom of it? Look at that crack. See that? That is cut out on purpose. That's not natural. That is not the natural stone. Look at all these other stones here. You see that? You see how these other stones, they don't have that crack there. They don't have it. It's not cut. I mean, these other stones aren't cut. This one is. This one is cut. Okay, and why is it? Because look at the background here. See that? You see that cliff right there? See the shadow cliff in the background? See that hill there? Now let's go back and look at this. See that crack there? That is representing this dark area here on this boulder, on this mountain. So, to understand this petroglyph, to understand this art, he's telling us that this UFO, this creature came out of this mountain, out of that canyon right there. See how it's carved out on the boulder? And when you look up, it's a carved out cliff. See that? You see the resemblance there? And look at the landscape, look at the back, look at the boulder, or look at the hill in the background. Look how it goes to the left, how it angles down to the left. Same with the top of this boulder, where that first circle is on top. It angles to the left and it goes down. So this whole boulder is talking about this hill in the background, and the hill, this UFO came out of that hill in the background. See that? That is how you understand these petroglyphs. You have to include the whole landscape in with the art to understand what he's trying to tell you here. Here we go again. This is cool. I'm not sure where this is at. I think I've seen this before. But here we have some orbs. We have 3 orbs, and we have that line that's connected together. Okay, and then we have the zigzag. See that zigzag up on top? And look at the line. See the line there? See that crack where the zigzags are coming down into that crack? That is the doorway. That is the emergence point. Now look at the squiggly lines over here on the left of that major crack there. Okay? That's energy. This is the energy. Over here we have what some people might call a cigar UFO. And down here on the bottom we have more energy. These wavy lines is the energy. It's not tire tracks. They're energy. See that crack right there? It's energy coming out of that doorway. I'm sure somewhere on this panel there's got to be a spiral. They just didn't photograph it. But I'm sure somewhere on this boulder there's a spiral depicting a doorway, because that's what this boulder is talking about. It's saying that these UFOs, these orbs, these creatures is coming out of this boulder into the underworld from the energy. And, you know, that's what the Native Americans say. The Native Americans say that they're going down into the underworld. But on a scientific level, on a scientific way of looking at it, they're going down into that fault line. They're going down into that energy source to absorb the energy. And that's what this petroglyph is depicting. These squiggly lines that we see coming up to these cracks, these natural cracks in the stone, are the doorways on where these orbs, these UFOs, are coming and going from. This is not my opinion, dude. I witnessed it, and this is what, you know, the Native Americans say. It's not just, you know, oh, Jeff thinks. No, dude. It's exactly what the Native Americans say. You know, it's exactly what's going on here. They're going down into these energy sources. Now, I understand why they call these things spirits, because when they're in the sky and they start to come down on the mountain, they're solid, right? But when they start coming down on the mountain, then they're like a ghost. You can kind of see through them. They're like a spirit, right? And then they just absorb themselves into the rock, into the mountain, into the canyon. You know, I wouldn't have believed it unless I saw it, unless I videotaped it. You know, and I have. I've seen it. I videotaped it. I verified it. You know, and that is exactly what's going on today. That's exactly what's going on. Now, this petroglyph here on the right, I'm going to start off with the right. We have these orbs that are connected together in like a chain, you know, and they're like kind of coming out of this crack here. It's all right here next to that major crack, right? And then when we come over to the right where the feet print are, okay, so these feet print, the footprints, it's not Bigfoot. The interpretation on that is, when you see footprints or handprints carved on the boulders, okay, it represents the spirits coming out of the rock or going into the rock, okay? That's what the meaning on these handprints and feet prints are talking about. That's what they mean, is that these spirits, these creatures, are walking out of the rock. And when we have this, right under them is a zigzag. See the squiggly line there? Now, it's hard to say without looking in the background, okay? Now, this could represent the energy, or without seeing what the background holds, this actually kind of, to me, looks like the mountain range in the background. All these pyramids, all these hills, see that? These could represent the hills that this boulder sits in front of. And all these pyramid, all these zigzag things, this is actually hills in the background. So these creatures, these handprints, they're coming out of the canyons on this mountain ridge in the background. How many fingers and toes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5. Some of them just over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The one over here on the right, it looks like he might have 6 toes. Okay, so that's my interpretation on this rock art. I bet you anything that off in the distance that there is mountain ridges, mountain canyons, mountain pyramid hills, exactly what this rock art is depicting. And what's coming out of these rock mountain hills are these creatures, because they're walking out of the canyons. They're walking out of the mountain ridge that's in the background. Here we have a natural crack on the bottom there with these square looking things there. So that could be UFOs coming out of the crack. But without seeing the whole landscape there, it's really hard to understand that petroglyph. But to me, that's, in my experience, that's telling me that those hills that those squiggly lines are actually hills in the background of that boulder. Okay, so look at this here. We have 3 orbs. Okay, 3 orbs that has been witnessed in the sky, that has been recorded by a Native American seeing UFOs in a pyramid, right? Is he connecting them together? Is he saying this is a spaceship? No, he's saying 3 orbs in the sky in a pyramid. Exactly what we see in the skies today. And look at that. You see the lines coming down from them? Is it actually portraying flight? I think so. I think that's exactly what they're trying to say here. That these orbs is in flight. They're flying together. Here we go here. This is cool too. Look at this here. So this is one huge, massive, these are massive UFOs here. Massive boulders. And there's creatures inside these boulders. There's like people inside, or boulders, inside another entity UFO. A lot of people would say, oh, they're spaceships, they're crafts. Well, actually, no. You know, each block is the creature. This whole thing is a creature. He's even got a little face up there. Look at that on the right. He's got a face there. He's alive. He's half person, half entity there. You see that? And then over here on the left, on the belly, you got a dead man in one of the bellies over here. There's a dead guy there. Look at that. See that? There's a dead human inside that entity. How do we know he's dead? It's because he's laying down. If he was alive, he would be looking up, and he would be having his hands in the air. And here's another one. Here's another guy on the bottom. See this? There's people on the bottom there, along with deers. Okay, this right here is a whole major UFO scene. This is exactly what was seen in the ancient time. The deers running around in the landscape, along with these creatures coming up out of the canyons, out of the mountains. And there's witnesses. There's a guy there. This guy here, the stick figure man with his arms going down, he's probably the one that carved all that. That's the guy. That's the witness to this major UFO sighting. Now, this is on South Mountain in Phoenix. So this is on Holbrook Trail. And the first park ranger, after he died, all of his information was tucked away. Like I said at the beginning of the show, all of his information was tucked away in that folder for the last 80 years and hasn't been talked about. Okay, so after he died, they buried all his information, put it in that folder, and they named a trail and they named a lookout tower in his name. But that's all. That's all. You see Holbrook Trail and you're like, who the hell is Holbrook? Right? Nobody knows who Holbrook is anymore. Right? It's been 80 years. The archaeologist doesn't talk about him. Why? Because he was chasing people away from the gold, because he knew about the spirits of the earth and sky, because he knew about the gold that's buried on South Mountain. You know, I think we should open up at least one tomb on South Mountain just to understand what's there. I'm not saying open up all the tombs, okay, because part of this story on why the gold is still left there is because the prophecy says that the Mayans are supposed to come back. The Mayans are coming back to Phoenix, Arizona to claim their gold, to claim their all their gold, and for everything to start over again. Okay? And that's the secret. That is what's going on here. So every time the world changes, mankind needs these phoenix lights, needs these beings in the sky to survive. Okay? But always in the first, second, third, and fourth world, all right, these things mislead mankind and they end up being taken away. Okay? So they're waiting. Right now, these creatures in the sky, these UFOs are simply watchers. Okay? They are watchers. They are waiting for us to need them once again. Okay, and when there's like a major war, okay, when there's no food, there's no water, all right, and mankind is in dire need of these beings, because right now, if one came down and says, hey, we're here, we're alive, how you guys doing? It would be front page news for a few weeks, but then everybody would have to go back to school, back to work. I mean, they're not needed. We don't need them right now. So they're waiting until we need them once again. And when that happens, there won't be any food. There won't be any water. All right. But then one of these lights is going to come down. He's going to shapeshift into a man, going to turn himself into a man. He's going to clean up the water. He's going to clean up the air. He's going to give us food. In return, he wants us to worship him. See where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this? That's exactly what we have in store. Okay, if the Holocom saw the lights, okay, saw the Phoenix lights and these UFOs like we are, and they disappeared, what does that say about our future? You understand? See where I'm going with this? Okay, history has a tendency to repeat itself. This is why they will never tell us what is really going on here, because this is too scary. If everybody knew what these phoenix lights in the sky were, if everybody knew that there's flying serpents over there, if everybody knew that these lights and these crazy serpents and these diamonds and orbs took people away in the past, would there be a city there? No, everybody would be afraid and not live there. And rightly, they should be. They shouldn't be living there, because eventually this is going to happen again. The Indians knew about it. They got the hell out of Phoenix thousands of years ago. They got the hell out of Dodge. They saw their ancestors being taken away by the Phoenix lights. Now we're seeing them. And what are we doing? We're exploiting the lights. We're using the lights as fame and fortune and making money off the lights. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is for us, mankind, to need these beings in the sky once again for help and guidance and for worship. But we will be misled and misunderstood because we will have to. There's too much information. Like right now, light came down. I'm not worshiping you. You're a bad man. You're a bad light. You took my grandfather away years ago. I'm not going to worship you. I don't need you. I can go down to McDonald's and I can have a hamburger right now, dude. I don't need you. But wait until there's no food. Wait until there's no air. Wait until there's no water. Now I'm here. I'm the light. I'm a phoenix light. I'm an orb. I'm a serpent. I'm a snake. I came from the heavens. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you. Here's a hamburger from McDonald's. Here's a shake. Here's some fries. Would you like a soda? You know, there's some altars out there. There's some altars out there on that mountain over there. Go grab your kid. Grab your kid. You want this hamburger? Go get your kid. Put him on that sacrificial table for me. Prove your worthiness. Make his blood go down and pour down on that rock. Here's your hamburger. Here's a shake. Here's some food. Here's cleaning up the air. Worship me. I am your God. I am the miracle. I am the one you have been waiting for. That is what's going on here. This is why they will never, ever tell you what exactly has in store for us. They're going to mislead you by saying these lights are spaceships and crafts, and they're going to come down and they're going to help us. Take us to another planet. No, that's going to be the new conspiracy now. That's the new cover-up. Because they can't hold all this information because too many of us are seeing them. You know, even the Air Force people, you know, they're seeing this stuff in the skies, these airplanes, you know, they're tracking. Everybody's starting to figure out that there's something here. So to cover up the truth, they're going to admit, oh yeah, there is something here. And they're crafts. They're technology. They're not fallen angels. They're not Nephilim. They're not here to help us. They're not here for us to worship them. No. They're here to help us. They're spaceships. They're crafts. They're little green guys. That is the conspiracy. That is the cover-up. That is the new cover-up now. Not flares, not balloons, but crafts from another planet to cover up these creatures, these living entities, these living beings who have lived here this whole time, who has misled mankind in history, in Earth's history. Now, there is sometimes, especially in the book of Numbers and the books of Exodus, you know, the Great Spirit has used his angels, his beings, to help and guide mankind. So there are good ones out there along with bad ones. You know, when we look at the book of Numbers, you know, and we look at the book of Exodus, it tells us, dude. It says, you know, they followed a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, right? And when Moses parted the sea, that creature, that UFO, was behind Moses, opened up the sea, everybody ran across. Moses raised up his staff. That UFO went around behind Moses again, closed up the waters. Basically, when you read that whole journey, okay, you know, Moses gets taken away where? On a mountain by what? A light, right? Okay, and who was it that brought the people into the promised land? It wasn't Aaron, his brother, but Aaron following a UFO in the sky. It was a UFO in the sky that brought the people to the promised land. It talks about how this pillar of cloud came down and was talking with Moses on the ground, man. This creature, this UFO entity, helping mankind from the Great Spirit. So let's look at this petroglyph, because I'm like way out of time here. But thank you guys for sticking with me and watching and everything like that. So that's great. So let's look at this petroglyph here. This is on South Mountain. This is on Holbrook Trail. All right. And so this is a shaman, if you will. And see how his legs are bent? So that represents energy. This is a highly, there's more to the story here. There's more on this rock art. There's more to the story. But this is like a shaman. He's got this cane, and his bent legs there represents energy. Here's another one on South Mountain. This is on Holbrook Trail. Now, this is kind of hard to see because sometimes, the sun will bleach these petroglyphs out, and this is what's about ready to happen here. There's been many a times when I just walked right past these boulders, and because the sun is in the right position, I just didn't even see the petroglyphs. But the next day, on a cloudy day, these petroglyphs are sticking out like a sore thumb. And so here we can see on how there's a serpent up here to the upper left, carving of a flying snake, and we have an Indian with a headdress on, and he's looking up at this flying snake, and it's really hard to see. But over here on the right, there's a mountain goat or something like that, a billy goat that used to be here on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. So yeah, we have this flying serpent, and this petroglyph panel is carved high up on a boulder. This is high up on a rock, okay? And so part of the and part of the ways to understand this rock art, when we see a glyph that's carved high up on the rocks, high up on the cliff, you're looking up. You're looking up because that's where this carving took place at. We see these two orbs up there, or a spiral, or these diamonds. We're looking up. Because the artist wants you to look up. You're looking up into the sky. That is a photograph. That is a UFO photograph of what took place right there, where it's carved at. Right there, where these orbs are carved at, where these diamonds, whatever's carved up there, squiggly lines, I don't know, something weird. It's up there. We're looking up because it happened in the sky. And that's exactly what this rock art is telling us. Because it's carved high up on the sky. I had to climb up there and take a photograph of this. So it wasn't easy. I climbed way up on the top of that cliff there. Took a photograph of it. Here we have, this is on South Mountain also. This is right below that serpent. So here's what I'm talking about. So here's a spiral. Okay, so the spiral is ending down, okay? And so what? The spiral is going counterclockwise, okay? So it is a doorway out, okay? And it's ending down. And there's actually a crevice on the bottom of this boulder. And so we have this spiral, and so we have all these little white things. See all those white things that are around the spiral? That's actually someone shooting at this. This is high up on the mountain. So someone is actually taking pot shots at this carving that's high up on South Mountain. So those little white specks, we want to just disregard because those are bullet hits. Okay, so the spiral is a clockwise, counterclockwise, and it's a doorway out. So let's look at the lizard here. Can you see right in between the lizard and the spiral? Can you see the shadow of that lizard? Can you see the shadow of that lizard? Now, this is what it's talking about, is this lizard is coming out of this doorway, and first he's a spirit. He's a ghost. You can see through him. But as he gets further and further away from the door, he becomes more solid. That is exactly what this petroglyph is talking about. It's talking about a spiral doorway, and this creature, this living being, this UFO entity, this lizard creature looking guy, all right, and he's depicting it like an iguana, okay, he's coming out of this spiral, and first you can see through him. He's a spirit, and as he gets away from the door, he's more solid. See that? We're running out of time. Gotta hurry up. South Mountain again, Holbrook Trail. So these, okay, so this right here, let's look at the serpent. Let's look at the snake here and see how he's crooked. Look at that. See, these are two hills. In the background of this boulder are two mountain hills, the exact same formation behind this boulder. That's what this boulder is carved on. So now this canyon here is a doorway. All right, so the canyon is a doorway. All right, because the snake is making the two hills. All right, because there's a serpent. There's a Quetzalcoatl living entity serpent that lives in these two pyramid hills. Okay, that's why it's the shape of a snake. That's why it's a snake. And then it's carved into two pyramid hills that are located behind this boulder. All right, so, and this thing up on top is coming out of the canyon. Okay, so over here on the left, all right, now that's not a sun. Some people would think that would be a sun. Okay, it's not. It's actually the spirit. Okay, it's a creature. All right, so he's a spirit form. Now when you come from left to right, right now he's more solid. He's more solid. See that? And then now he's leaving to the right. You can see more of light carving of the exact same entity. See that? Let's look to the right of it. So from left to right, he comes in. He's a ghost. He's a spirit. And now he's over the canyon. He's over these two pyramid hills. He's more solid. This UFO entity, he's growing legs. He's morphing. He's an orb. He's a light. He's morphing into a creature. And now he's moving away, and he's starting to fade out. He's starting to disappear. He's starting to become like a spirit, if you will. He's like a ghost. This right here is an equinox panel. So this is on Holbrook Trail also. So that little cut up on top, right? That's where the sun will come down. That's where the sun sets. The sunset will come down at that crack right there, at that carving little stump that you see right there that these beings are looking at. This is a cut out cut. This little L-shaped cut. So the sun, the summer solstice sun will come down and align with that crack right there. And this lizard guy that's right below that cut, this symbol here, I like to call it a light and shadow marker, because when I see petroglyph panels that depict the equinox and the solstice, tracking of the sun, I always see this type of lizard, this big lizard-looking symbol here, and so I know when I see that symbol, I know that this is a light and shadow panel for the equinox and the solstice markers that the Indians use to track the sun. And over here to the left, we have a man with his hands on his hip, and he's looking up, and he's got a feather in his head there, in his headdress. Holbrook Trail, South Mountain. Okay, so this panel here, now this is not Holcomb. So the Spanish conquistadors came here on South Mountain looking for the lost city of gold, the lost city of Cibola. Matter of fact, Charles Holbrook thought that this was one of the lost cities of gold, the city of Cibola, because that's what he writes in his journal. You can find that on my website down below. And so this is a carving of the king. Okay, and this is actually on the other side of this pyramid hill, and you see the direction that he's looking. So he's actually staring at a tomb. Okay, so that's one of the ways to understand these petroglyphs is the orientation of where they're looking. You know, so if there's a coyote face to the west, you want to walk west because he's pointing to the next story, a boulder on the rock. In this case, for instance, this Spanish conquistador is actually looking at a tomb that one of his leaders or king or whoever it was buried at here on South Mountain. So to this day, the archaeologist doesn't even believe that the Spanish conquistadors ever made it to Phoenix, Arizona. But Holbrook believed it, and we found evidence that the Spanish was here. And you can find that in my book. That's another story. You can read that story in my book, and you can see the evidence that I discovered from the Spanish conquistadors, the photographic evidence I found from the Spanish conquistadors. Okay, so here again, it's Holbrook Trail again, and so we're looking up at serpents. All these are flying snakes, right? This is a holy mountain. Why? Because it has orbs. We can see an orb there on the left, and then flying serpents, flying snakes. Get that? See that? Quetzalcoatls. That's a whole bunch of flying serpents there. Okay, press for time. We gotta hurry. Here's an altar. Here's one of the altars that I found on South Mountain. This is oriented towards the east, towards the equinox morning sunrise. This is an altar here. You can see some of the blood stains that was pouring down. And then we see some of the petroglyphs there, the orbs, things like that. That is a carved out sacrificing altar. Okay, looks like we're about done. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this, 2-hour show. I think it's probably the longest show I've ever done. And so make sure that you help this channel out. Just help this channel out by liking and subscribing, and look for more UFO videos, because I have tons. I have so much the public has never seen before. So probably those of you that have been following me for these last 20 years probably think that you've seen everything that I have. Don't be so sure. I have a lot of stuff a lot of people hasn't seen yet. So I'm updating my YouTube page, and I'll be doing more live shows right here. So make sure that you subscribe. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the comments. I'll try to get to your comments shortly. I'm gonna take a break, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And you guys are awesome. And if you guys have any UFO videos you want me to talk about, send them my way. Petroglyphs, send them my way. And yeah, thanks again for watching. And we will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.